Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well today. As we talked last night, had our meeting last night, I kind of laid out what the plans were for the remainder of the year. And each day, about twice a week, I'm going to be doing a problem of the day, or in this case, I've got this called problem number one. So this is the first of 10 that we've got to know for our final, which is going to be around May the 5th or 6th. Okay, so it's going to be one of those days. We could adjust that a little bit, but we're going to shoot for that. So that's 4 weeks. So we're going to do 2 to 3 problems of these a week. Okay. All right. As you can see, problem number one. The first problem that we want to talk about is just our old trig functions. Okay, this is back from lesson 1.3. If you're following along with the study guide or with the course study, this is lesson 1.3. Okay, but I want to just go over this real quick with you, and then I will put a problem up on the board and we'll work that. I'll post it to Google Classroom along with probably 2 problems, like a non-multiple choice and a multiple choice. Okay, that's my plans right now. I haven't created the problems yet, so that could change, but that's the idea. Make sure you do those problems. They're 10 points, and it's pretty much a participation type grade, so make sure you do those. All right, so for this, we're going to look at it, and we're going to say, okay, sine is y over r, cosine is x over r, tangent's y over x, okay? And then the inverses of those are true as well, okay? R is equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared. And remember, R is a radius, or is the radius. It's when we graph these in standard form on the coordinate plane, terminal side, initial side, terminal side, all that stuff. That's what we're talking about here. So again, sine y over r, cosine x over r, tangent y over x. R is always positive. R is always positive, okay? And you've got to know where is sine positive, where's cosine positive, where's tangent positive, positive or negative, okay? So then I've got that over here. Quadrant 1, okay, and I don't have this listed out. I guess I probably should have done that, and I apologize. Quadrant 1, okay, so there's 1, there's 2, there's quadrant 3, and there's quadrant 4. Quadrant 1, everything is positive, okay? So in quadrant 1, everything is positive. Quadrant 2, sine is positive and cosine and tangent are negative. Why is that? Because sine is represented by y. That's above the x-axis. Everything above the x-axis is positive, okay? Cosine's negative because it's to the left of the y-axis. So the x values are negative there, okay? So it just has to do with, if I were plotting a point, if I had a coordinate there, what's positive, what's negative, and you should be able to handle that, okay? As you can see, sine is negative in quadrants 3 and 4 because it's below the x-axis. Cosine is negative in quadrant 3 and tangent is positive. And the reason tangent is positive is because in quadrant 3 it's sine over cosine. It's, remember, y over x, so negative over negative is positive. Okay, so that's the first problem that we're going to focus on, okay? That's what I call problem number 1. Make sure you know these things. Again, this is 100% review for y'all. We went over this. We spent a lot of time on this. So please make sure that you're familiar with this right here, okay? You'll have to use this to be able to solve the problem, okay? So when I get back, we'll do example number 1. I'll probably just work one example. It'll be, again, just make sure you know how to do it and you'll be fine for the final, okay? So when I get back, we'll do example number 1. Okay, so let's look at example 1 or problem 1 that we have to know to be able to do the final exam. And let me preface this by saying, guys, these problems can be worked differently, okay? In all seriousness, I think they're meant to be worked different or to be worked differently on the final, but it doesn't matter, okay? They're kind of leaning towards the fact of doing it with the Pythagorean identities, the sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, using all these different identities to manipulate them. And I don't think we're quite as familiar with those as I would like to be. So therefore, that's why I said, okay, let's go back and let's do the y over r, x over r, y over x stuff, because they can be worked that way. Okay, I worked them both ways, or I looked at the problem obviously on the final, and I worked it both ways, and it works out about the same. Okay. I don't know that one way is any easier than the other, to be honest with you. So anyways, having said that, I want to make sure that the way I'm picturing it is comfortable for you, and I think this is the more comfortable way for you, okay? All right, so the problem we're going to look at today, or that we're going to look at, for today, is we're going to be looking for tangent, and we're going to be given sine, okay? So it tells us, okay, tangent theta is, find tangent theta given that sine is equal to 1/2 and theta is in quadrant 2, okay? So they're telling us we're in quadrant 2, so at the end that's going to tell us something. It's going to tell us whether whether tangent is positive or negative, okay? So let's take a look at this problem. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is I'm going to say, okay, sine theta is equal to 1/2, 1/2. So that tells me that y is equal to 1, r is equal to 2. I need to find x. So the first thing I'm going to do is find x, okay? Now, to find x, and again, I'll go over this way. X is going to be r is equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared. Okay? We know r, we know y, so we can find x. Okay? So r is equal to 2. Okay? X is, I don't know. Y is equal to 1, so that's plus 1 squared. Okay? So let's do our math here. So this is 2 is equal to, again, the square root of x squared plus 1. All right? Now, to find x, we need to square both sides. All right? So when we square both sides, we get 4 over here. Over here, it just gets rid of the square root, so we get x squared plus 1. Okay? Now, subtract 1 from both sides, and we get 3 is equal to x squared. Now we take the square root of both sides, and we get x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. Now, we have to determine right here, right now, what is x equal to, okay? Is it equal to positive 3 or is it equal to negative 3, okay? To get that information, it tells us we are in quadrant 2. What are all x values equal to in quadrant 2? Quadrant 2, from the first board I showed you, quadrant 2, all x values are negative. So therefore, we get negative square root of 3. That's what x is equal to. Okay? So now, again, for this problem, I now know x, okay? Negative square root of 3. I know y and I know r, okay? So to find tangent, right? Tangent theta, that's equal to what? Y over x. Okay, we may have to simplify. That's fine. So there, that gives us y is equal to 1 over negative square root of 3. Okay, so this problem's going to be negative. The answer is going to be negative. So to do this now, we're going to multiply. We're going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying, okay, by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. So when I do that, again, the problem's going to be negative because it's a positive over negative. So I get square root of 3 up top, square root of 3 times square root of 3. Remember, a square root of 9, or it just gets rid of the house, so that's 3. Okay? So tangent theta is negative square root of 3 over 3. And that's our final answer. And let's make sure that makes sense, okay? We're in quadrant 2, okay? In quadrant 2, tangent is negative, okay? So my final answer here is tangent is equal to the square root of the negative square root of 3 over 3. You've got to be able to simplify. You got to be able to rationalize. You got to be able to do all that stuff, okay? Please make sure you're aware of that. And again, guys, on these problems, on these lessons, on this example problem number 1, here and on the final, there are different ways to do it, okay? We can use trig identities or we can do this way, okay? Either way works, whichever way you're comfortable with. I showed you this way because I think you're more comfortable with it, but please feel free to use the trig identities, okay? All right, so now I'll give you a couple problems in the Google Classroom to try. One of them will be, try to work it out, get the answer, and the other one hopefully will be multiple choice. So like I said, I'm gonna sit down and look at that here in a minute and try to get that put together. So hope everybody has a great day, and please make sure that you complete the assignments, okay? You will be getting a grade for this, 10 points per assignment. That's 100 points because there's 10 of them, then the 100-point final. So you got 200 points left. So please, 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 please make sure you do this work, okay? And I'll post another video here in the next few days. Everybody have a good day.